Well, what's up, everybody? This is Zach with KT Outdoors. Thanks for tuning in for today's episode. It is the middle of a heat wave here in the Pacific Northwest. And it's like we get hot here. That ain't nothing new for us. What is new this year, like for many other people I'm sure too, is this notion that we would get hot in June and be really hot for a really long time. Like it's been just crazy hot and crazy dry here. So in today's episode, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about my favorite strategies. That does not make them the best. They're just my favorite strategies for dealing with the heat, things that help both me, the gardener, and my plants thrive in spite of these high temperatures that are normal here, just not maybe normal this early and this often. So stick around, beating the heat, coming up next. Okay, so how do we deal with this heat thing? For those of you who don't deal with this, I'm jealous, because it's sometimes a lot of fun to deal with the heat. It can just be a real bear when we get into July, into early August. Like, things just change usually. And this year it's happened even earlier, like mid-June it started to get really hot. We're still not into July, and it's going to be 110s over the next 10 days. Like, it's going to be crazy hot, even for here. So first strategy, first tip is not a hard one. It's get your butt out of bed. Okay? I mean, honestly, like when it's 110, know that forecast is for like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, right? So if you get up and get going, it's beautiful. Like, I'm out here right now and it's nice. We're in the long shadow part of the day, right? Where the sun is just barely coming up. So everything, the trees, the bushes, the shrubs, the buildings, they're all casting really long shadows. And it's really, really cool everywhere that I go in the morning. So I have been known to get up between 5 and 5:30, which is totally not normal for me. But it will become normal the month of July because A, the sun's up by then here, and B, it's comfortable. Like, it's not hot. So you need to get up as early as you can and get out of bed. I learned that from my father-in-law when I was working on the farm, because farmers know this too. Like, get your stuff done before you get too hot. Prime time here depends on how overcast it is, how quickly the temperature rise is. I can usually be in the yard working and productive from 5:30 to 10, maybe 11, depending on how quickly it warms up. That's a lot of time to get stuff done and still be comfortable in the yard. So, number 1 tip, get out of bed. Okay, number 2 tip. Water is life. Okay? Like, it goes without saying, but you look at this soil down here in the food forest where I happen to be filming this particular episode. Notice how dark it is? How black it is? It's because I watered the crud out of it. Okay? And I like to water with overhead watering. Okay? So you can see right here behind me I have a big, I would call that a big gun, even though it's not a big gun. I have a big yard sprinkler that shoots a massive swath out here throughout the garden. Okay? And behind me you can see right now there's a rain bird running. And just up the fence, whoops, am I going? Yeah. Right there, there you can see it, is another one of those big guns. So between those 3 waterers, they cast water throughout pretty much this entire food forest space. And so what I usually do is set each of them to run for like a really crazy long amount of time in either the evening or in the morning. So yesterday morning, the one on the edge of the fence ran. Last night, and I think it ran a little bit last night too, actually. I think when I changed the water or turned it back on at the end of the day, it ran for maybe another 20 or 30 minutes. Okay, then this one ran for 40 or 60 minutes last night. And that one over there has been running ever since I got up. Because normally during this time of year, I might as well just sit down here and talk to you. Normally during this time of year, my morning routine is to get up and immediately get water going, because I want the water in the ground while it's still cool so that it has a chance to soak down into the ground and to get in a place where the plants can utilize it. If you water in the heat of the day, you lose a lot of that moisture just to evaporation. So water is life, water early, get things really soaked, and your plants should be able to handle the heat. Listen, I plant seeds and I grow all of this beautiful stuff. And I hope that this channel is helping you realize that you can too. But I need your help to grow this channel like I grow this garden. Because I have decided that each of these videos is like a little seed that I plant in the ground. And hopefully in time it grows. But in order for that to happen, it needs a little fertilizer and it needs a little water. And you can help with that by giving it a thumbs up and maybe even commenting down below. Even something simple like nice vid or thanks for the info or whatever. Comments and thumbs up really help these videos get seen by other people who might find them useful too. So help us grow this channel like we're trying to help you grow your garden by giving it a thumbs up and a like. And maybe, well, I guess that's the same thing, right? A thumbs up and a comment. And maybe even consider subscribing if you haven't already. We try to release content as often as we can, usually 3 or 4 videos a month at a minimum. Just showing you how things are going and giving you tips and advice on how to do things in your neck of the woods. Tip number 3, along these same lines of water, is to automate the watering as much as you can. Okay, I recently updated my sprinkler control system to a new Orbit Beehive Wi-Fi capable sprinkler system controller. Absolute game changer for this guy. Like, phenomenal. I literally turned my sprinklers on last night from bed. I didn't get up. I just opened the app on my phone, fired that thing up, told it how long to run, and even though the sprinklers weren't supposed to run last night, they did, because I turned them on from inside the house, which is just crazy to me. So, but having that system automated means you don't have to do it. And there have been years when I had this system automated, especially if I'm busy and I know I'm not going to be around, just with a simple sprinkler timer, right? Like you can buy those really simple, I'll drop in a picture of one here because I've got one, I use it. Those really simple sprinkler programmable timers, right? Where you can program a time to start in the morning and a time to shut off at night and all that kind of stuff. So even if you don't have an automated sprinkler system, like in-ground sprinklers for your lawn like we do here, then you can still automate that system with some of the various resources that are on the market. So automate as much as you can, because then things either happen while you're sleeping or at a minimum happen without you needing to be the catalyst for making them happen. So if life gets busy, you don't have to worry about your garden getting watered because it's going to happen on its own anyway. Tip number 4, hopefully you can see kind of down here behind me, Tip number 4, which works for me here, and I know from listening to people like Charles Dowding that it doesn't work for everybody. It really, like so much in gardening, depends on your garden and your location and the stresses and things that your garden has to deal with. But here it's hot and it's dry. And so one of the single most important things for us to do here is to mulch. And so we mulch with everything. Like this is straw that I got from my father-in-law's farm. I'm standing right now on some spent hay, which I really love as a mulch. Underneath all of that is wood chippings that we got in a couple years ago. We put down grass clippings in our beds. I'll show some footage here from the other garden where some things are mulched. Like, mulch is key. It keeps the soil moist and cool, especially in this heat, right? Because like this beautiful black soil is beautiful and it's black, but in the sun, that maybe isn't such a good thing. And if you don't believe me, then go get in a black car in the middle of a heat wave, right? Like black attracts heat, right? So this soil is going to dry out quicker and get hotter because it's a dark, rich color, because we've built such beautiful, epic soil down here in these spaces. Well, you can protect that by covering it with some, like my favorite is grass clippings, honestly. I use grass clippings in my growing bed spaces. And then I like to use the hay and the straw in my pathways. But you could use any of them any place you wanted. Like I've seen plenty of people mulch their whole gardens with straw. So yeah, mulch is key if you are in a hot, dry area like me. So okay, and then I'm going to tell you our 5th and final tip here for success in the heat. It's really a simple one, but it's really easy to underestimate it because you get busy. And sometimes, like this year, the weather comes out of nowhere and it's out of your control. Okay, so we're going to use this beautiful, well, not so beautiful, sweet pea plant as our illustration of this. Okay, and so this point is plant plants that will enjoy the heat. Okay, so sweet peas like it cool. They don't like it hot. So this 110 degree heat makes this plant look like this. Like it looks like crap. Look at the poor thing. Okay, now why is that? Well, it's simple. It is not designed to thrive in this kind of an environment. It doesn't like it hot. It's in a black pot. It gets baked by the sun. Like, look at that poor thing. The sun's gonna come, just all day long, blasting that pot, getting its roots hot. It's not a good environment. Now, if I had got that planted early, like I should have, it would be thriving and done already. It would have flowered. We would have got some beautiful bouquets off of it, and it would be done. Okay? But literally steps away, pretty much the same growing condition, and actually against the reflected heat of this building, and this sunflower is thriving. Like, it just started opening yesterday and now it's opening like crazy, right? Like, what's the difference there? The difference, quite frankly, is the plant. Some plants like the heat. Okay, so if you know that you're going to experience some significant heat in your general growing area, plan accordingly. Make sure that you have tomatoes and beans and squash and corn and things like that not only like the heat, like they need it. Like my in-laws grow corn, they're farmers, and they talk about this thing called heat units when their corn isn't growing fast enough in a cold, wet spring. Like, those plants need the heat. Okay, so planting the right varieties of plants will allow you to be successful in high temperature heat waves, because it won't be a hindrance to your plants. In fact, just the opposite, it will help them grow even better because they love the heat. Now, you do have to keep them wet because we've already covered that water is life. Okay, so even heat-loving plants will wither like those peas are if they don't have enough water. But grow the right plants makes all the difference, and it will help you feel like you are being successful. All right, guys. Well, I hope that wherever you are surviving the heat. I hope that maybe these tips and advice can help you get through it. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I know that it's really easy to see those high temperatures and just kind of freak like, oh my gosh. Like, with the right care and the right techniques, your garden will be okay. Your plants will thrive. They'll be all right. You just need to make sure that they have water. And if you don't want to roast yourself, you need to get out in the space early or late. Early is better because it's been cool all night, but late has a similar effect. It's a little bit cooler in the evening. And just check on everything, right? Like, make sure that things are okay. If they look a little unhappy, give them some water. It's probably what they need if you're in the middle of a heat wave, as long as you're not watering them too much. But you can beat the heat. Just do it. You'll be all right. Trust me. I mean, look at all this. It's already been hot here, and things are rocking, and they're going to keep rocking because we're going to make sure they do. So anyway, thank you for being here. I hope that you enjoyed this little episode. If you haven't yet, give it a thumbs up. Maybe comment down below. All that fun stuff, because it sure helps this video get seen by other folks who might find it useful. And then get outside and get growing, because life's better when it's lived outdoors. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.